Hi Sumate, welcome back to my channel. It's Needles by Tiara here. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to cut and draft this beautiful trendy long dress with side drapes as displayed on your thumbnail. So if any of this looks like what you're interested in learning, this certainly means that you must have to stick to this video. On all the list of the required materials needed for the sewing of this beautiful long trendy dress with side drapes, first on the list you're going to be needing your crepe fabric. I'm going to be working with a combination of two crepe fabric, the plain fabric and of course this flowered crepe fabric. I hope you understand. So feel free to work with any crepe fabric of your choice. You're going to be needing a matching color of thread. So at the moment this is not a matching color of thread, but as we progress on the sewing tutorial, I'm most definitely going to get a matching color of thread. So you're going to be needing your scissors, you're going to be needing your measuring tape, which is exactly what I have here, and lastly on the list you're going to be needing a matching color of zip. I hope you understand. So these are all the basic required materials needed for the sewing of this beautiful long trendy dress. So with me, I have my pattern paper well laid out. Please ensure that your pattern paper is on fold. I hope you understand. With that being done, I'm going to go in with my straight ruler and I'm going to be rolling out a straight line at this point, which is equally going to serve as my starting point line. With that being done, like I stated earlier on, please ensure that your pattern paper is on fold. This is very important. At the moment mine is not on fold, but once I transfer this into my fashion fabric, I would most definitely ensure that that point is on fold. Now place your tape from your starting point line, which is equally going to serve as your shoulder point. You're going to be chalking down the distance between your shoulder to bust point. So sorry, at this point I didn't notice my camera had stopped recording, so let's do a little recap of what we did at this point. You're going to place your tape from your shoulder point line and you're going to be chalking down the distance between your client's shoulder to bust point. Remember, like I stated earlier on, your shoulder point line, your starting point line is equally your shoulder point line, right? Chalk down the distance between your shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to front waist point. You're going to be needing your shoulder to hip point as well. You're going to be chalking down the distance between your shoulder to knee point, and lastly you're going to be chalking down the distance between your shoulder to the full length of your gown. So the entire length of this pattern paper is going to be the full length of my gown. So to get the consistency and the accuracy of a straight line, take those measurements all the way down here this way. Now reintroduce your straight ruler, connect all those points into each other to form your basic straight line, just as I am doing on this video. I hope you understand. Now with that being done, we'll go ahead to label our pattern. This is my shoulder point, my bust point, my under bust point, my front waist point line, my hip point line, my knee point line, and lastly this is the full length of my gown, which is the full length of this pattern paper. With that being done, place your tape from your shoulder point, chalk down the distance between your shoulder to your chest point. So the mathematical formula for ascertaining that value is by dividing your bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So whatever you have as the value gotten, place your tape from your shoulder point and chalk down that value, which is the distance between your shoulder to your chest point. Roll that point into a straight line. Go ahead to label that point to be your chest point line. Now with that being done, at your shoulder point line, you're going to divide your shoulder circumference by 2 and chalk it down at that point. Whatever your shoulder circumference is at this point, just divide it into 2, chalk it down at your shoulder point line. Now with that being done, whatever you have imputed at your shoulder point line, you're going to bring down that same value down to your chest point line as well. Now reintroduce your straight ruler, roll this point into a straight line this way. Having done that, now at the shoulder point line, you're going to be imputing your basic neckline. So the standard neckline measurement is 3 inches being the width and 3 inches being the depth. So in this point, we're going to be chalking down 3 inches neckline width. Now for our neckline depth, you're still going to be chalking down 3 inches as well. But for mine, I'm going to be chalking down 3.5 inches because my client is on a big side. I hope you understand. Now reintroduce your curve ruler, connect from your 3 inches neckline width into your 3 inches neckline depth, just as I am doing at this point. So that was exactly how we arrived at this particular point. Now moving forward, still on your shoulder point line, remember that we're making an alter neckline. This is not your basic neckline, right? So we're going to be imputing that neckline at this point. From your shoulder point line, chalk down 5.5 inches, which is exactly what I have here. Now at your chest point line, you're going to divide your client bust circumference by 4, chalk it down at this point. Still at the chest point line, you're going to place your tape at that point and you're going to be coming up with the value of 0.5 inch. So this is to have a covering. Remember, this is not going to be having any sleeve attached. So just come up at that point by either 0.5 inch or 0.75, connect that point into a straight line, label that part to be your new chest point line. Whatever you have imputed on your former chest point line, please bring it up to your new chest point line as well. With that being done, now reintroduce your curve ruler. You're going to be connecting from your new chest point line into the 5.5 inches now imputed at your shoulder point line. I hope you understand. So please, I need you to pay attention to the placement of my curve ruler. Connect from your new chest point line into that 5.5 inches that we just imputed at the shoulder point line as well. I hope you understand. So this is very important. Pay attention to the placement of my curve ruler and to go ahead to replicate them for yours. So at this point, if you're not satisfied with this curve, which I'm very much okay with this, you can equally go in with your slightly curved ruler for the purpose of this. Just connect from that point, take it all the way up just like we did earlier on with the deep curve. I hope you understand. So at this point, like I stated, the former curve line is what I'm going to be using and not this one. I hope you understand. With that being done, still at the 5.5 inches imputed at the shoulder point line, place your tape at that point, come down by 0.5 inch, which is going to serve as your shoulder slope. Now reintroduce your straight ruler, roll that point into to form your shoulder slope this way. So in a bit, to make this point more elaborate, I'm just going to reintroduce my marker and I'm going to be re-highlighting those points, which is exactly what I did at this point. Now with this being done, we're going to move ahead to impute the rest of our circumference measurements. On your bust point line, you're going to divide your bust circumference by 4, chalk it down. Remember, we had already imputed it on the former chest point line and the new chest point line, right? So you're going to skip your under bust point, move down to your front waist point, divide your waist circumference by 4, chalk it down at that point. So now moving down to your hip point, you're going to divide your hip circumference by 4 and chalk it down at that point. Since we're making a long dress that has a draping, we're going to be adding an extra 1.5 inches for ease at the hip point line. I hope you understand. Divide your hip circumference by 4, chalk it down, add an extra 1.5 inches to that measurement, chalk it down at your hip point. Now to your knee point line, whatever you have in total at your hip point line, you're going to subtract 1 inch off from that measurement and bring it down to your knee point line. I hope you understand. Just go ahead to chalk it down at your knee point. Now whatever you have imputed at your knee point, you're going to bring down that same value down to the full length of your gown, which is exactly what I did at this point. Now with that being done, we're going to reintroduce our straight ruler, connect from our new chest point line into our bust point line and extensively down to our front waist point line. Please, I need you to pay attention to how I am placing my ruler at every point and do go ahead to replicate same for yours. So with the aid of my slightly curved ruler, I'm going to reconnect from my front waist point into my hip point this way. Like I stated earlier on, please pay attention to the placement of my curved ruler. Go ahead to smoothen out that point. You do not want any sharpness at any point. Now you can use your straight ruler to connect from your hip point down to your knee point, and as well you can equally use your slightly curved ruler for this purpose, which is exactly what I'm doing for mine at this point. Now go ahead to smoothen out your hip point this way. With that being done, we're going to reintroduce our straight ruler, extend from our knee point all the way down to the full length of our gown, just as I am doing at the moment. So with that being done, we're going to return our pattern to how it was before. With this being done, we've successfully imputed all of our basic curves for our gown. So before we proceed on, I need you to kindly take note of the following. For this particular gown, we're going to be incorporating a side dart and not a waist dart. So we're not going to be working with a waist dart, but rather a side dart. So what then is a side dart? A side dart is the difference between your client shoulder to front waist point and your client shoulder to back waist point. Currently on the screen at the moment, you're going to be seeing a picture well displayed, which is going to serve as a guide on how to take that basic measurement, which is the distance between your shoulder to front waist point and your shoulder to back waist point. So my shoulder to front waist point is 18 inches, while my shoulder to back waist point is 16 inches. So to achieve or to get our side dart, you are going to be subtracting those two values from each other. 18 inches minus 16 inches is definitely going to leave us with the value of 2 inches. So it automatically means that this 2 inches right here is my side dart. So 2 inches in this case is my side dart. Kindly take note, this value is not constant. Yours could be 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and even 2 inches as the case may be. It entirely depends on your client's body size. So this value is not constant. Yours could be more or less. With that being said, let's head right into that. Now to impute your side dart, first of all, on your bust point line, you're going to divide your nipple to nipple by 2 and chalk it down at that point. There is a picture displaying on your screen currently at the moment, which is going to serve as a guide on how to take your nipple to nipple measurement, which is your bust span. Now divide that value into 2, chalk it down, which is half of your nipple to nipple measurement on your bust point. Now from that point, you're going to further come out again by 1 inch. So the reason why you're coming out by 1 inch after your nipple to nipple divided by 2 imputed at your bust point is because we are imputing a side dart. I hope you understand. Now place your tape from your bust point, come down by 2 inches, which happens to be my side dart. So if yours was 1 inch, please come down by that value. Now connect from that point into the 1 inch that we came out with at the nipple, having imputed rather our nipple to nipple divided by 2 on the bust point line. So with this being done, we've successfully imputed our side dart. I'm just going to make a curve at this point. So this is to avoid every shortage, having held down our side dart directly on our fashion fabric. So it is better to have an excess than to have a shortage at that point. I hope you understand. So with that being done, we're going to move ahead to imputing the curves for our side drape. Now, if you look at the picture displayed on the thumbnail, you're going to see that we have about 2 types of side draping. The one that flows below the natural waist point and the one that flows from the waist point. So on this particular tutorial, I am going to be teaching you how to go about the both sides. In case you want to use any of them, I am definitely going to be teaching you on how to go about that. Now, starting from the one that runs below the waist point to the natural waist point line, the picture is up here on your screen. So if you want this particular one, you're just going to place your tape on your front waist point line, come down by about either 4.5 inches or 5 inches at that point. Now on your knee point line, you're going to place your tape, come up at that point by 1.5 inches. I hope you understand. Having done that, now you're just going to reintroduce your curve ruler, connect from that 4.5 inches or 5 inches up to the 1.5 inches that you came up with at your knee point line. Please, I need you to pay attention to the placement of my slightly curved ruler and do go ahead to replicate same for yours. Carefully place it this way, connect it all the way down. Now going with your straight ruler and extend it all the way into that 1.5 inches that you came up with at the knee points. So if this is what you want for yours, this is how you're going to go about this. I hope you understand. So let's do a little recap. Come down at this point by 4.5 inches. At your knee point, come up by 1.5 inches. Reintroduce your slightly curved ruler. Connect from the 4.5 inches that you came down with from your natural waist point, connected into the 1.5 inches that you came up with at the knee point line. I hope you understand. So that is how you're going to go about the input of this basic curve. I hope you understand for your slash and spread. Now to achieve that slash and spread, we're going to be rolling out some lines that is going to serve as a guide. Now from this point, go ahead to roll out a line that is going to have a spacing in between of 1 inch all the way down. Please go ahead to measure yours. Ensure it is 1 inch in between. Take it all the way down, just as I am doing on this particular at the moment, to be precise. Ensure it doesn't surpass that curves that you have imputed at that point. I hope you understand. And equally ensure that it doesn't surpass that knee point that you came up with by 1.5 inches. Now, like I said, the spacing that I have in between is 1 inch. I took it all the way around. I hope you understand. So ensure, like I stated earlier on, it doesn't surpass the 1.5 inches that you came up with at the knee knee point. Now for mine, I want the one that runs from the natural waist point. So to achieve that, if this is what you want for yours, place your tape at your front waist point, come down by 1 inch at that point. Now from that 1 inch, like I stated earlier on, please place your tape, come down by 1 inch from your natural waist point. At your knee point, you're still going to come up at that point by 1.5 inches as well. Now reintroduce your slightly curved ruler, connect from that 1 inch imputed below your natural waist point into the 1.5 inches imputed at your knee point line that you came up with at your knee point line. So please just pay attention to the placement of my curve ruler at this point, and do go ahead to replicate same for yours. Having connected it, now going with your straight ruler to extend that point into that 1.5 inches that we have imputed at that point. And this is how to go about this particular one, which flows from your natural waist point. I hope you understand. So with that being said, let me make a recap. Please come down from your natural waist point by 1 inch like we stated earlier on. On your knee point, come up by 1.5 inches as well, just like we did earlier on. Now reintroduce your curve ruler all over again, connect it from the 1 inch below your natural waist point into the 1.5 inches above your knee point line. I hope you understand. So this is how to go about this. Since this is exactly what I want for mine, I am just going to be extending those already existing slash and spread lines into that curve. I hope you understand. So if this is what you want, just extend those lines all the way into that curve. Ensure it doesn't surpass that curve. I hope you understand, which is basically what I'm doing at this point. So with this being done, our pattern is ready. So we're just going to go in with our scissors and eliminate all of our basic side excesses. So starting from this point right here, if you have watched this video to this point, I mean, what are you waiting for? Kindly hit on the subscription button, like, and follow for more of this related content. So at this point, I won't have to do much. Just sit back and watch while I take you through that process. So with this being done, we've successfully eliminated all of our side excesses. Now, speaking of the neckline, the outer neckline that we have at this point, the one displayed on the thumbnail has a bit of a C curve at that point. So if that is what you want, you're just going to place your slightly curved ruler, and make that curve at that point. But because my client wants to wear this to a church, I'm going to be working with this particular outer neckline curve. I hope you understand. Now moving on, we're going to be detaching the lower base of our gown from the upper base of our gown. So to do that, we're just going to slip through the curved lines at this point, take it all the way in this way. So with this being done, our front pattern is ready. So we're going to use our plain fabric to cut out the upper base, while the lower base is going to be cut out with our flowered crepe. So with that being done, we're going to just keep this aside while we dive right into the drafting of our back pattern. So to draft out our back pattern, we're going to be doing some mathematical calculations together. Just go in with your straight ruler, demarcate to the two sides of your pattern paper this way. Now go ahead to label this point to be your front point measurement, which is exactly what I'm doing, and this point to be your back point measurement. I hope you understand. So at this point, we're going to be incorporating a subtraction method into this calculation. Remember, like we stated earlier on, there's a difference between our shoulder to front waist point and our shoulder to back waist point. By the time you got that value, we subtracted it from each other and we're left with the value of 2 inches, and that 2 inches happens to be our side dart, right? So that 2 inches that we took off, or that we imputed on the front part of our pattern paper, like I said, we're going to be taking that 2 inches directly off from our fashion fabric. So that 2 inches, by the time we sew it out as our dart from the front pattern, we're definitely going to have some excesses on the back part of our gown. So to alter those excesses, or to alter those excesses or to eliminate that excesses, we're going to be chalking down all of this following front point measurements, which includes our shoulder to front waist point, shoulder to front hip point, shoulder to front knee point, and shoulder to full gown length. So to eliminate all of the excesses, we're going to be subtracting the side dart off from all of this written down front point measurements. I hope you understand. So now bringing back my pattern paper, let's re-explain all over again. Remember, we got the differences between our shoulder to front waist point and shoulder to back waist point, which is 2 inches being our side dart. We did imputed it on the front pattern, right? So by the time we take off this 2 inches directly off from our fashion fabric, we're definitely going to be having some excesses for the back pattern. So to alter that excesses, we're going to be subtracting that 2 inches off from all of these point measurements that we imputed for our front pattern. I hope you understand. So to get the back pattern, to get the back point measurement for all of these values, this is what we're going to do. Like I stated earlier on, we're going to be subtracting 2 inches off from all this value, which is our shoulder to front waist point, shoulder to front hip point, shoulder to front knee point, and shoulder to front gown length. So with that being done, let's do the maths together. 18 minus 2 will leave us with the value of 16 inches. 27 minus 2 will leave us with the value of 25 inches. 38 minus 2 will leave us with the value of 35 inches, and 59 minus 2 would leave us with the value of 57 inches. All of this measurements gotten at this point will be transferred to our back point measurement, and all of this measurement right here would automatically become our back point measurement, which is our back waist point, back hip point, back knee point, and back gown length. I hope you understand. So the difference between the front point measurement and the back point measurements is the subtraction of your side dart from each of those measurements, which my side dart is 2 inches. Having subtracted it from all those basic point measurements for my front pattern, that would leave me with the value of my back point measurement. I hope you understand. So the bottom line is the fact that you're going to be subtracting your side dart from all of these basic front point measurements that we just chalked down at this point to get all of your back point measurements for those parts. So let's move down to imputing this on our pattern paper. So here is my pattern well laid out for the drafting of the back part of our gown. Going with your straight ruler, roll out your starting line at that point. Now with that being done, remember that we're drafting the back part of our gown, right? So it is going to have a zipper allowance, but I'm not going to be imputing the zipper allowance directly on this pattern paper. Rather, once I transfer this into my fashion fabric, I am going to be imputing my zipper allowance. I hope you understand. I do not want you to get confused, hence the reason for this. Now place your tape from your shoulder point line. You're going to be chalking down all of the following measurements, which includes the distance between your shoulder to your bust point line, which is this. Now the distance between your shoulder to your waist point line, there is no need for an under bust point measurement, so you don't have any need for that. So place your tape from your shoulder point and you're going to be chalking down the distance between your shoulder to your back waist point, being 16 inches as compared to the front part, which was 18 inches. Now you're going to be chalking down the distance between your shoulder to your back hip point, which is currently 25 inches as compared to the front part, which was 27 inches. Now we're going to be chalking down the distance between our shoulder to back knee point, which is 36 inches as compared to the front part, which was 38 inches. Now lastly, we're going to be chalking down the distance between our shoulder to our full gown length, which is 57 inches as compared to the front pattern, which was 59 inches. I hope you understand. So now go in with your straight ruler and connect all those points into each other to form your basic straight lines. So having rolled out all your straight lines, now you're just going to go ahead to label your pattern, your shoulder, your bust point, your back waist point, your back hip point, your back knee point, and lastly your back gown length point, which is exactly what I have at this point. So with that being done, now we're going to move ahead to impute the distance between our shoulder to chest point line. So just like we did with the front pattern, whatever you did imputed as a distance between your shoulder to chest point line for your front pattern is the same value that you're going to impute for your back pattern as well. Now going with your straight ruler, roll that point into a straight line. Now go ahead to label this point to be your chest point line. I hope you understand. So with that being done, at the shoulder point line, we're going to divide our shoulder circumference by 2, chalk it down at that point. Now whatever we have imputed on the shoulder point line, we're going to bring it down to our chest point line as well. Now reintroduce your straight ruler, connect from your shoulder point into your chest point line this way. So with that being done, we're going to be imputing our basic neckline. Remember, we did imputed 3 inches as our neckline width, right, for the front pattern. So we're going to do same for the back pattern as well. Now for the back neckline depth, you're going to be chalking down 1 inch or 1.5 inches as the depth of your neckline. Now you're going to reintroduce your curve ruler, connect from the 3 inches neckline width into your 1 inch back neckline depth. I hope you understand. So please just pay attention to the placement of my curve ruler and do go ahead to replicate same for yours. Now place your tape at the shoulder point line just like you did with the front pattern. Chalk down 5.5 inches at that point. With that being done, on your chest point line, you're going to divide your bust circumference by 4, chalk it down at that point. Still at your chest point line, place your tape, come up at that point by 0.5 inch, which is going to be for your covering. I hope you understand. For your armhole point, just reintroduce your straight ruler, connect that point into a straight line. Now go ahead to label this point to be your chest point line. Now with that being done, whatever you have imputed on your former chest point line, you're going to bring that same value up to your chest point line, your new chest point line to be precise, this way. With that being done, just like we did with the front pattern, reintroduce your curve ruler, connect from the 5.5 inches imputed at the shoulder point line, take it all the way into the new chest point line this way. So please pay attention to the placement of my curve ruler and do go ahead to replicate same for yours. I hope you understand. So with that being done, we'd move ahead to impute our shoulder slope. Place your tape, come down at that point by 0.5 inch just like you did with the front pattern. Now reintroduce your straight ruler, connect from your 3 inches neckline width into your 0.5 inch neckline slope. With that being done, now we'll move ahead to impute the rest of our basic circumference measurements. On your bust point line, divide your bust circumference by 4, chalk it down at that point. At your back waist point line, divide your waist circumference by 4, chalk it down at that point as well. Now at your hip point line, divide your hip circumference by 4, chalk it down. And of course, for your ease, you're going to be chalking down an extra 1.5 inches as well. Now, whatever you have imputed in total at your back hip point line, you're going to subtract 1 inch off from that measurement and you're going to be chalking it at your back knee point as your knee circumference. I hope you understand. Now, with that being said, whatever we have imputed at the back knee point, we're going to take down that same value down to the full back length of our gown. I hope you understand. Now reintroduce your ruler, your straight ruler to be precise, connect from your new chest point into your bust point line, tilt your ruler a bit, reconnect from your bust point into your back waist point with the aid of your slightly curved ruler, reconnect from your back waist point down to your back hip point this way. Please go ahead to smoothen out that point. With that being done, either with the aid of your straight ruler or your slightly curved ruler, whichever one you did use for the front pattern, please use that same part for the back pattern. Connect from your back hip point to your back knee point. Now to take this all the way down to the back gown length, you're just going to shift your pattern a bit. Now reintroduce your straight ruler all over again, and I'm going to be taking from my back knee point all the way down to my back gown length, which is exactly what we did at this point. So I'm going to return my pattern to how it was before, and at this point our curves is ready for our back pattern. Now moving on, just like we did with the front pattern, we're going to be imputing our curves for the slash and spraid. So to do that, just like we did with the front pattern, place your tape from your natural waist point, come down at that point by 1 inch. With that being done, from your knee point line or on your knee point to be precise, place your tape, come up at that point by 1.5 inches. I hope you understand. So what we did at this point was from our natural waist point, we came down by 1 inch. From the knee point line, we came up by 1.5 inches, which is exactly what we did at this point. So with that being done, we're going to reintroduce our slightly curved ruler, connect from the 1 inch point that we came down with from our natural waist point into the 1.5 inches that we have imputed above the knee points. I hope you understand. So please, I need you to pay attention to the placement of my curve ruler at this point, and do go ahead to replicate same for yours as well. So having imputed our curves for our slash and spread, now we're going to move ahead to impute the lines for the slash and spread. But before we do that, you're going to bring back the lower base of the front part of our gown and align it to the lower base of the back part of our gown. You can see that the hip point aligns, the knee point aligns, the full length of our gown aligns perfectly, and this is the perfection you definitely want to achieve for yours as well. You can see that this curve that we have imputed at this point synchronizes and aligns perfectly. If yours is not aligning perfectly, just place it on top and retrace that curve. I hope you understand. So yours has to align perfectly both for the front part and the back part. I hope you understand. So with that being said, I'm just going to keep this aside while we move ahead to impute the lines for our slash and spread. Now moving on, we're going to reintroduce our straight ruler just like we did earlier on with the lower base of the front pattern. We're just going to be marking down, we're going to be chalking down rather a spacing in between of 1 inch for our lines, which we're going to be using for our slash and spread. So just carefully connect this point all the way down this way. Ensure that the spacing is over 1 inch all the way around. I hope you understand. So with this being done, our back pattern is partly ready. So we're going to move ahead to eliminate our zipper bulge. So to eliminate your zipper bulge, on your waist point line, which is this point right here, you're going to place your tape at that point. You're going to come in by 0.5 inch. With that being done, reintroduce your straight ruler, connect from that 0.5 inch all the way up to your neckline depth of 1 inch this way. With that being done, reintroduce your slightly curved ruler, connect from that 1 inch all the way down, just smoothen it and blend it all the way in, just as I am doing at this point. So with this being done, we've successfully eliminated our zipper bulge and we're going to be taking off this part. So at this point, our pattern is ready. So we're just going to bring back the front part of the upper base of our gown, align it, and you can see that the outer neckline aligns perfectly. You can see that the bust point aligns perfectly. Once started, you can see that the bust point aligns perfectly, the waist point aligns perfectly. Yours has to align perfectly as well. I hope you understand. So with that being said, we're just going to go in with our scissors and eliminate all of our excesses. So at this point, I won't have to do much. Just sit back and watch while I take you through that process. So having eliminated all of our side excesses, we're going to move ahead to eliminate our zipper bulge at this point. So just go in with your scissors, slash through that point to eliminate your zipper bulge, follow out the curve at that point. I hope you understand. So with this being done, our pattern is partly ready. We're just going to go in with our scissors to detach the upper base of our gown from the lower base of our gown. So we're going to be slashing through the curvy part of this point, which we're going to be making our slash and spread. And this is what our back pattern is looking like both for the front view and the back view. And look what we have here. Look at our entire piece coming out looking very beautiful. This is what you're going to achieve as the perfect end result for yours as well. You can see our perfectly eliminated zipper bulge for the back pattern. You can see our well imputed side dart for our front pattern. You can see how all the points sit very beautiful at every point. So with that being said, we're going to be calling this a wrap for the day. I want to divide this video into 2 segments. I do not want it coming out looking long, so this is going to be the part 1 of this video. On the part 2 of this video, I am going to be teaching you how to place this and cut it on your fabric, how to transfer it into your fabric, and how to sew it perfectly, taking you through every step of the way. I hope you understand. So with that being said, my loves, I am going to be seeing you on the part 2 of this video, which will be the sewing part of this tutorial. So to be the first to get notified once the video drops on our channel, kindly hit on your subscription button to be the first to get notified. Thank you, and I'm going to be seeing you on my next tutorial. Bye.